Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to answer one of our God ordained spouse question around, when God sends your spouse back, will it be permanent? We're going to talk about it. So her question read, when God sends the kingdom spouse back, is it going to be permanent, or is the devil going to tempt him to leave and go with the counterfeit since there is no sex until marriage? So thank you for your question. So number one, when God, okay, do you hear the key word? When God sends your God ordained spouse back to you, it's going to be permanent. Your spouse will be ready to walk you into this God ordained marriage, okay? Now, one thing I want everyone to understand is that the devil is always going to be tempting you, okay? So when God sends your God ordained spouse back to you, that doesn't mean, okay, the devil just, is no longer going to tempt them with counterfeits. The devil is going to throw women, your husband's type across his path all the days of his life, okay? Because Satan hates marriages. Satan also has studied us, since birth. He knows your husband type. He even know your type, right? And so he's going to tempt us in the areas that we are weak in hopes of causing your husband to trip up. So this is where we have to stay on our post, okay? As help me, even when God sends your spouse back, that doesn't mean you stop praying. You continue to pray. You continue to rebuke you, okay, every seducing spirit, right? Every counterfeit, that might be trying to creep back or whatever, right? But here's what I do know. Part of the one of the requirements before your God ordained spouse can come back to you is all counterfeits has to be removed. Okay, so you don't have to fear, or even wonder when God sends your spouse back with a counterfeit still be in the picture. They will be removed. Okay, this is part of your blessings for your obedience. Okay, they will be removed, or unless they can't come back. Okay, so I want you all to hear me here. I'm talking about when God sends your God ordained spouse back, it will be permanent. So if any of you have taken your spouses back and you still see your spouse with the counterfeit, God didn't send them back. If your spouse has come back and they still being tempted with all this lust and they still can't decide or even haven't recognized you or identified you as their spouse, that wasn't God who sent them back. You took them back on in your own flesh, in your own will. Okay. So when God sends your God ordained spouse back to you, it will be permanent. Counterfeits will be removed. Okay. All counterfeits will be removed. The main counterfeit will be removed while your spouse is going through their judgment. Okay. Because there's always one main one. Okay. And she's usually the witch, but that last one will be removed during the time period when your spouse is going through their judgment. And also know that the devil is going to always be coming after you and your spouse trying to tempt you off. Okay, if not through sex, if not through women, if not through men, the devil will try to tempt you off with greed. Okay, with arguments or whatever. So this is why we pray. You have to stay on your post. Okay, even when they come back, even when you say I do, you got to constantly pray against the trick schemes and attacks of the enemy. All right. So that is it. I am Tequila Coleman. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.